everyone. Today we are joined with Ms. Nabila Jamal, an anchor at India Today. And Ms. Jamal, for the interest of our viewers, would you please describe your journey until now? How has it been, and especially being an anchor?
My journey has been great. I think those who want to pursue journalism, India is a great place too, because as much as we think that there's no room for free voice, I think that's just a perception, because every voice has space and every voice has platform, and I've had it, and I've had a great run for the last 9.5 years. I think close to 10 years that I'm inching closer to. I feel old, but I started at a really young age. Right after I passed out of college, I joined TV9, and I was with TV9 for about 9 years. And then I joined India Today. I've been here for about a year. So,
Right.
yeah, it's been a fantastic journey. And I think I've done every news with all heart, and really nobody to stop my voice. But you need to be careful, of course. I think I learned the tricks over the years on how to be careful, not to push someone to the edge, because if there's one story, there's always another story, right?
Mm.
There are two narratives to anything. Just stick to the facts, and that's what I did throughout, and that sort of led me towards the right direction.
Right, right. That's great. So, something that I've been trying to understand for quite a while is how much control does the anchor have over the news content that is being shown at during any program, for that matter?
Hmm. So like I said, you don't have control over the news content that comes in, because there are news from there's all kinds of news that's coming in, and you can't really take one news and leave the other aside. As an anchor per se, news comes in abundance. I think the only thing that we have control over is our tone, our tenor, our narrative. That's where we have control over. We don't have control over the kind of news coming in, but we surely have control over the narrative that we put out. Just not like a news that comes in. If we give our personal opinion, that's where it sort of you know we can take control over it. But
Mm.
apart from that, I don't think we have control over the kind of news that comes in, but we have control over the way we present it.
Right, and I would assume that that again is a filter that the news anchors employ to present news in a more digestible and also in a more professional manner. So, what are a few steps that anchors take to make sure that news doesn't turn into a reality show?
When you say what steps do you take to ensure news doesn't turn into reality show, well, I think this is really generalizing the news industry altogether, because not every news channel and not every news hour and news debate is a reality show. There are many of them who do it in the most amicable, the most simplistic manner, with facts presented and no color beyond that. So I, I would say it's basically the viewer's choice. If the viewer gives power to the content driver, which is a news channel, it, it, that's the only booster that the news channel has to go forward with more of that kind of content. It's
Mm.
all about the viewer's choice. We give what the viewer wants, and and the TRPs are the driving factor. I'm sure, as you know it. So we can't not cater to what the viewer likes. It's eventually what news that they want is what we give, but we've got to have some social responsibility and ensure the facts are in place. But a little bit of sensationalism is rampant all over, because unless you speak with that kind of enthusiasm, which you may call sensationalism, you won't you won't turn eyeballs, and you need eyeballs to get your business running. Unfortunately, it's all revenue driven, it's all advertisement driven, and that's driven based on your TRPs. So unless you give some sort of content that the viewers demand, you're not going to get those TRPs. Eventually, no advertisers. How will you run the show then? So a little
Yeah.
bit of
So
that
this
kind
brings
of tone.
about two questions for me. First being, what are your views on India's TRP measurement standards, where we recently saw how BARC BARC's methodology was examined by a lot of people, and a lot of people said that it's not really up to the mark. what are a few solutions for that, and what are your thoughts on that? And second, so do news channels show people what they want, or should they show people what people should see?
I would say news channels must show reflect the reality on ground and
Hmm.
not lace it with any further agenda.
Hmm.
But because we're driving, we're driven because news is an industry. Unfortunately, it's a proper business,
Hmm.
and we function with the help of advertisers and their advertisements, the revenue that comes in on that. Because of that, we've got to strike a balance between what the viewer wants
Hmm.
and, of course, largely based on our ethics in place. Eh, For me, being part of India Today, I think the driving factor is the facts. It's nothing else. It's basically the fact of the situation, and we review, assess the entire story much thoroughly before it actually is aired. So I feel that uh, for us, keeping the tone simple and presenting the facts is all that matters. For we don't go beyond that. I mean, there are channels that go big, turn a story around into they turn it sensational, and they get all sorts of angles to it. You've spoken about polarizing, you've spoken about communal, you've spoken about all of that. It's easy to give any story that twist, but I think if you stick to facts, that's the easiest thing to do. So you're presenting the viewer with the relevant news. A little bit of opinion is needed because when you're sticking to fact, you've got to call a spade a spade. So
Hmm.
you got to be opinionated, you got to present your facts. About the mechanism of monitoring news, I feel that there's no proper mechanism to monitor news and news content even till date. Years of this fight, I don't think that India has really struck a balance in terms of monitoring news content. And you can't really expect a government ambushman to sit in every channel and vet every news that's going out. It's impossible even for uh, the government to really regulate the kind of the number of news portals that there are. It's not possible. But they're doing a decent job, I guess. But I don't think it's efficient to the point of controlling the kind of news that comes from all over. It's hard. So it's all, again, it comes down to the viewers. It depends on what the viewers want, right? And see, the viewers are sensible. They're not stupid. Our viewers know what's a legit channel, what's a genuine network. You can't, and if you speak about social media, you can't compare a social media to a mainstream media. You can't
Yeah.
compare a news channel to social media. So people, even if they go to social media platforms, even if they go anywhere else, they'll still come back to a news channel to get proper content. And there are regulatory bodies to monitor news channels contents, but there aren't regulatory bodies to monitor as much as the social media content. So news is just all over the place. It's a genuine news channel, maybe like India Today, that will give you the right news without any color associated to that. Maybe, like, see, if viewers are watching terrible content, they will decide. The moment they get better content elsewhere, they'll switch. So it all comes down to the viewer to regulate content than a regulatory body itself. I will say that time and again, the viewer has the power. If the viewer switches off the remote while you're looking at insightful content, you're cutting their wings. Because the more you watch it, the more you're giving them the TRPs. You switch it off, the power is in your remote in your own hand. So you switch it off, their TRPs dip, your advertisers go away, and then you realize that content does not work. So then you switch. So the actual regulator, I think, is the audience.
Right. So do you think that news should be regulated at all, irrespective of the platform that it is on?
I think news must be regulated. When you call it news, it means it's of public relevance.
Hmm.
And you have the social responsibility to put out honest, clean, factual content.
Hmm.
You must be monitored. I can't just randomly open a portal claiming it to be news and put out just anything that comes on top of my mind, with possibly 1% of the fact and 99% of agenda. That doesn't work like that. And I'm telling you, viewers will look through it, they'll see through it. And if there aren't monitoring bodies, then you'll have hundreds of other people coming up with news portals, putting out all sorts of things. So it's very necessary for a regulatory body to be, and should be, effective. And I only hope that it's more effective in the coming days, and not depending on bias and depending on which way the mood is of the nation and etc. That there should be hardcore ethics in place for us to follow. Yeah, that's that.
Right. And we talked a lot about TRPs and how viewers have the power to maybe make or break a channel and the products that or the programs that they put out. So, what are your thoughts on the TRP measurement process that we have in place right now? Do you think that is a good measure of finding out which channel is doing better than the other or which program's doing better?
Sorry, say that again. If you can
Uh,
repeat that question again.
right. We talked about TRP and how viewers have the power to make or break a channel. Do you think the TRP measurement system that we have right now is good enough to actually come up to a conclusion as to which channel is doing better or which programs doing better? Do you think that?
No, I don't think the TRP. I don't think the TRP measurement system is effective. Like I said, out of the billion population that we have, uh, you're actually monitoring for news. Let me give you specific for news channels. You're literally monitoring barely 40,000 households. How can you actually tell what is the real public sentiment and what people really want to watch just by looking at a sample size of 40,000 homes?
Right.
So that, and then you had the TRP scam that came about where you have local operators allegedly, again, this is investigations underway, some channels, they're paying for people to watch the channel, putting up the monitor in the house. And you are, in fact, when the monitors, those testing monitors, they're put in each home, the families don't really know about it. But here, some people, in exchange for money, they actually make those households aware that there is a monitor being put in your home, and we'll give you this much, put those channels on for this these amount of hours or these many minutes. So that's what's unfortunate, that it's flawed. It's not a concrete foolproof system. It's flawed, and with 40,000 homes, 40,000 monitoring houses, you can't really tell what the real country wants to watch, what people really want to watch. And I think that's where the gap is bridged by all the social media platforms, where people are social media, I think, to a large extent shows the actual sentiment of the people, the tone, even though it can be manipulated easily, but you can really get a gist of what the nation wants, what they're thinking. What's trending on Twitter is really something that gives the perspective, whether we like it or not.
Right. So, do you think social media has kind of become a competition to news channels because both of them are now doing a similar job where they are delivering information to people? Do you think?
I don't think social media can ever be a competition to mainstream media, because social media, the only way that social media pushes us to the edge is with regards to information being put out much quicker than we would on mainstream news. So people do get information firsthand through social media, possibly. But what's great is that people still want to watch in detail and a verified portal to see if that information is right or wrong. Now, it's only wisdom that will tell you that you can't believe in news put out on social media. Now, if there are people who believe in news put out on social media, and you know that fake news travels much faster than genuine news, than real news. So people can get flawed away by it, but the larger population know that what you see on social media is not really what the fact is. So if you really want to, if you're interested in that particular issue, then you'll quickly switch to a mainstream news television there to find out if this is flashing on any television, is this really true? The television is giving verified information. So you trust networks. Like, for example, India Today, we are looked as a genuine, trustworthy network, and people do come to us for any news and believe and trust that we present the facts. So social media can't really be a competition to news media. No way. I don't think this is a direct battle. It really poses, but it does pose challenges to news media, though.
And could
Not
you
a challenge, not a war, but a challenge. So
right. So could you spell out a few of the challenges apart from the speed of the delivery of information?
like I said, speed of the delivery of information is the biggest challenge. That when you see it broken on social media, you quickly reacting to it, and you're like trying to find out where this information is coming from, and you want to put it out faster than anybody else. Now, since it's already out on social media, people are already jumping to those platforms. So we don't want to lose TRPs while people switch to a lot of channels. By the way, I wouldn't say our channel, but a lot of networks do jump on information given out on social media, and it's very easy to put out information put out on social media on television as well, saying that source based information, without actually verifying it completely. Earlier, without social media, people would hold on for a little while, wait for reactions to come, wait for some authentic wait for the actual people behind the news to confirm it, wait for reactions to come in from the government on it, from those newsmakers. But today, with social media putting out that news faster than ever, you're literally picking up news from social media and putting it out there without verifying. So that could also cost your credibility. So that's something I think that could be, apart from your pressures of breaking the news, you're also losing your credibility if you really do fall into that trap. So it's very important not to fall into that trap, and it's very important for a viewer also to understand that if you want genuine news, if you want the truth, if you want to know in detail what exactly that news on social media that you read meant, then get on to a network like India Today. Like switch on to a trustworthy channel, so you know information firsthand and you know the correct information. So these are challenges, I would say, and the tone that social media sets. A lot of insightful content. That's also a challenge, because based on what is said on social media, you'll have guests speaking similar language on television. So that sort of sentiment that prevails on social media sort of reflects on your television channels as well. It's almost like trickles down, bottom to top, top to bottom, either way.
Right. So, do you think speed is the only thing that is making journalists look away from their sourcing standards or ethics, and they are kind of plummeting? Or do you think there are other factors at play?
I don't think that social media is a reason for journalists to look away from their journalistic ethics. First of all, like I said, it's wrong to paint the entire media with the same brush, because there are genuine journalists today. As much as you accuse journalists of being biased, of being extreme, of whatever, having opinions to either side, extremes ends, there are many journalists today, young journalists, old journalists, who still survive in the industry and who are still putting out very genuine content with a lot of with clarity and verifying every piece of news that they put out. So I don't think all of us get flawed by what's on social media and look away from. Yeah, like I said, it does pose challenges. We do want to, but it also can be a plus, because a lot of information that you might not get otherwise, like when you actually do the legwork, you might not find a lot of contacts, you might not find a lot of information. Social media is a one-stop shop. You get onto it, you really want to find a contact, you want to reach out to someone, you reach out to them through social media. So that's also easier for us to get content faster and get reactions faster. But you got to use it wisely. It's for the reporter and a journalist to use it smartly. I can manipulate my audience and my viewers by taking out exactly what's on social media and putting it up. But then I become like any other YouTuber, and that's a small. It's a minority which watches, a small group, basically, much smaller group, a much smaller audience. Even though we see views in lakhs and millions on your social media platforms, the genuine audience and the genuine game changers watch mainstream news. So for journalists like me and anybody in my organization, we can't just go, lose track with what's on social media. We're very strict about it. In fact, India Today is very strict about it. We can't take a piece of information from social media and put it up just without verifying. It's at the cost of our jobs. Yeah.
Of course. And I believe that these standards should be set and should be there for something as serious as journalism, because if we don't, then we basically open the gates for things like fake news. Which, coming to what do you think are a few solutions to fake news? Because a lot of TV channels have also been caught maybe propagating fake news, for that matter, or even creating news out of thin air. then what do you think are few things that the channels can do to make sure that they do not spread fake news?
Well, fake news is something that, like I said, it spreads some 4,000 or 6,000 times faster. That's what I read somewhere. It spreads within seconds. If someone wants to propagate fake news, you can do it so easily on social media platforms, and it spreads faster than genuine
Yeah.
news. Because when you're making fake news, you're always making it since there's someone making it, there's someone behind it. You're
Mm.
always making it to grab eyeballs,
Yeah.
to grab that attention. So there itself, you understand that people are looking out for sensationalism and sensational stories all the time, and these are fake news drivers who are feeding into that sentiment. So that's where people must be aware. Like I said, it's only wisdom that will make people understand that you can't believe anything and everything on social media. Like we've said this enough a number of times, and as an organization like ours, like as a legit trustworthy organization like the India Today group, we're very careful with whatever news we put out, and we have a fake news war room where we,
Okay.
if there is a certain video that's gone viral, and we're like everyone's looking at it, and it's creating quite some ripples, right, in the society, because it could be polarizing, it could be communal, it could be hate spewed, it could be anything. That kind of content is serious when it moves around, because we're such a diverse country. We have people of all kinds here, and we're already looking at so much hate that's being spewed time and again, because of political gains. Even though people on ground are so friendly and love each other, there's no difference that when you actually see people connecting with each other on a regular basis. It's all a political stage that is usually a political audience that's being catered to with all that hate mongering. It's very important for people to remember that you can't believe anything that's put out. So, like I said, for a channel like ours, we have something called the fake news war room, where we check on that particular video or news going viral. We verify it with all sources, and then we put out that information saying this today's fake news of the day. It's almost on a regular, every single day actually, that
Mm.
India Today puts out one or two reports on fake news that's doing the rounds, and we give a seal to it whether it's fake or whether it's genuine.
Right.
So to sort of help viewers understand if it was fake or true. So
Yeah, and that's
yeah,
great.
that's the only thing we can do as a mainstream media.
Mm. And that's good. There are a lot of these companies and websites and even networks coming up with their own fact checkers and fake news busting
Yeah.
programs. And I believe that is something which is very much required, especially in times when we are so polarized, as you said. What role can media play to maybe reduce this polarization?
See, I'll tell you, reducing polarization, I'm not too sure. First of all, this is not new to India, right? When you say
Mm.
polarization, you're trying to basically tell me that news channels either swing left or right.
Mm.
So aren't we basically projecting exactly what people's sentiments are? Eventually, news channels are showing what is ground reality.
Mm.
It's great for a news channel to be completely unopinionated, but
Mm.
gone are those days. And India is not the only one that have polarizing views on news
Yeah.
channels, because you see the United States as well. You have the Fox News, you have the CNN. They're polarized. I mean,
Mm.
in whatever way, their ideologies are different, and you can see it. You can see exactly what view which channel holds. Like if you want to see extreme right, you'll switch on to one channel. If you want to see extreme left, you'll switch on to one channel. So it again all comes down to the viewers. If the viewer wants, if basically the viewer is subscribing to what caters to their views, so the viewer will turn on, even if you give them the most non-biased platform with the most plain and simple news. There is an audience to that. There is an audience to news without any frill. Then there is a larger audience to news with opinions. There's a larger audience to news with either opinions of the right or opinions of the left. And unfortunately, the nation is divided. People are becoming more opinionated, and that's also because of the social media platforms that are out there, where people are screaming their views sitting right behind their computers at the piece of their homes. And whatever was wild imagination at once upon a time now has become, it's come onto their fingertips, and it's out there. They're able to release it in a way, and some sort of satisfaction that they get, that they're actually able to express their sentiment, and they have a platform to it. Earlier, it was news channels only having some few experts or guests on television channels, where the larger public sentiment was still not known. It was the voice was echoed through one or two, three guests. But today, people, you and I, we're still in the media, but regular local people have power to express their opinions on social media, and that's opinionated. It's not one-sided. It's not neutral. So if the country is heading that way, should not the media project what reality is? It's very difficult for us not to,
Hmm.
because then we look spineless. Because then we're accused of not actually showing what the right picture is. See, it gets. I think, like I said, the one factor that could really keep your credibility and ensure that you are catering to the audience is to stick to facts. The moment you try to add your moral stance and give your judgments and have take a moral high ground and give it that kind of narrative to it, that's when you lose that credibility. So stick to facts. Facts. Give, like I said again, call a spade a spade. Stick to facts. Give out your news with all the facts in place. Don't color it with all the bias. Don't give
Right.
your personal opinion and hold a moral high ground. You're
Right.
giving facts based on history, that's fine.
Hmm.
But you're giving your own opinion based on your own bias is not fine.
Right, but some news channels do that. Some news channels even create fake news live on their programs. Why aren't other news channels calling them out? Why isn't there any scrutinization within the industry for each other?
See, scrutinizing each. See, you don't. They say there's a kahavat in Hindi, right? You don't spit on your own plate.
Hmm.
So you know it's an open secret that you don't pick on people within your own industry, because it can come to haunt you tomorrow.
Hmm.
Right. So you're there to make news. You don't want to be newsmakers yourself. You don't want to be the ones on the news. You create news, or rather you put out news, but you don't want to be the news yourself.
Hmm.
So see, and it's not like media does not report what's happening within the media. It's not like that. I
Yeah.
see many platforms today which represents and highlights the problems within the media industry. And if there's any, like for example, what happened with Arnab Goswami, it was a public issue and media channels did report it. But
Hmm.
I'm not denying that largely media turns away from the actual problem. But when there is a public issue, like with what happened with Arnab, news channels do pick it up, and that was highlighted. We did speak about it, and I think it's necessary to speak about it. But you don't really dig into your own industry. I think, yeah, that's true.
Right. Okay, and one question that comes to my mind a little off this current topic is: do you think paying for journalism is the ultimate solution? If everyone starts paying for journalism, both broadcast or online for that matter, will that solve the issues that the news media industry is facing right now with dropping advertisement revenues, with increasing hate and propaganda or polarization for that matter? Do you think it is the ultimate solution?
I think it's a great way of encouraging a lot more portals which can come out with more free and fearless reporting and journalism. But I don't think this is the ultimate solution, because like I just told you a little earlier, when viewers want to subscribe to a certain opinion, they will subscribe to it irrespective. They would want, even if you give them so like I said, there are takers to everyone. There are takers to news laundry, right?
Mm.
Where people pay. It's a paid platform, public funded platform. There are takers to Op India, where people pay for that too. They're also getting funding from the public. So if eventually you are subscribing to your views, what you want to hear as a viewer. So I can give an Op India, I can give a Swarajya, I can give a News Laundry, I can give a Huffington Post, which is now shut shop because they didn't get adequate funding. So it's all about a viewer. It just comes down to them. And like I said, it is important to have options, but it is important to have options. Like, it shouldn't be completely lopsided,
Mm.
which you can say today that, oh, a lot of the media is one-sided today and whatnot. But I don't think so. I think the media, there's so many portals out there, and there's even if it is digital platforms, there are many of them out there which have absolutely opposite views. So I do believe that there must be competition. There must be a lot many more platforms for people to be spoiled for choice. So if I want to subscribe to a certain view and I want to hear this narrative, then I will go to that. The only thing is, the only request that we all have is stick to facts. Just don't deviate from that.
Right.
That's that.
And because everything that we talked about today revolves around viewers, what according to you are some steps that the viewers should take to make sure that they get reliable content all the time?
See, I really believe that the viewers, if they feel are being misled, must call out the news channels and the news reporters and news anchors. And that's what they do. They do call out news anchors. I get called out sometimes for trivial things like as basic as a spelling error or a pronunciation error. I get mocked at, like literally mocked at. So it's embarrassing when they're on public platforms thrashing you left, right. But I think it's also important because the viewer also gets a chance to hold you accountable. Yeah, or any platform, social media platform basically gives people a place to voice their opinion in terms of whether they like a certain piece of news or not, or whether they feel it's misleading or not, and they want to call out and lash out at those journalists. They have all the right to do so, and they must do so. And social media platforms is the place. There are lots of ways, other ways to do it as well. You write to the news portal, you mail the news certain the help desk of those news centers. You can do many, in many ways you can reach out to those news portals, and I think that's what people must do. And like I said, the biggest power is in your remote. If you do not like it, you don't subscribe to it, you switch it off. You turn off your channel, you don't give them TRPs. Advertisers will back off. And speaking of advertisers, I saw that was also one thing that you mentioned. Advertisers also must be conscious. You remember the TRP scam that happened in India, right? Many advertisers took a stand saying that we will not advertise with channels who propagate hate, who indulge in uh, such kind of sensationalism and hate news. So advertisers are taking a stand, and that's great because it's not just in India; it's all over the world. Even Facebook, for that matter, was pulled up. Republic was pulled up, and Facebook, for that matter, social media giants were asked. In Europe, there was a whole movement on it that social media platforms must regulate the content that's coming in. They shouldn't allow all kinds of hate mongering to spread because it's a massive field on social media. You can do whatever you want. You can have virtual wars. Uh, the unfortunate part is that it actually sometimes trickles down to reality. Now, people don't look at it as just opinion on social media. They actually come to act on it. That's where it gets a little scary. So social media platforms are also asked very promptly to regulate their guidelines and to stop hate news. And that's what I think Facebook and Twitter, all of them now, restricting any sort of violent and insightful news that comes in. I think that's great. That's a monitoring that needs to be in place.
Right.
So
As we come to the close of this, I would like to end this with a rapid fire round of sorts, where I ask you to answer in one sentence these three questions that I have.
oh God.
Right. So the first is a request to your fellow colleagues or peers.
To stick to the facts, and I think that's what they do. I don't know if this is a request. I think they all do that.
Right. Then maybe a
Stay
better
fat.
request.
I, I don't know what request to make them. They're all fantastic at their job. Yeah, who am I to give them any?
Just maybe another request as to how they can improve their work. I agree that most of them are doing fantastic work, but maybe or anything else that you want to put out to tell them that this is how I see things going in future. So maybe you could help me out here.
I don't know. I think I'm nobody to say it, but I mean, I am within the industry. I feel I don't know if I can give any advice to fellow journalists, but I think everybody is doing a fantastic job. If there could be something, I would just say stick to facts. Let's put aside the bias.
Right. Uh, and an advice to a social media news consumer.
A news consumer on social media.
Yeah.
Don't believe everything that's out there.
Right. And some advice to an upcoming journalist, someone who just started.
It's an open field, great opportunities. Don't be deterred by all the uh, speculation of media being one-sided. You have enough room for your opinion to flow, and you'll surely flourish in the given environment.
Right, that was very welcoming. I believe when they see this interview, they'll be really pleased to hear that and would definitely encourage. Thank you so much for your time.
Great.
This brings us to the end of the
Thank you, Anuj.
yeah, and
Thank you so much, Anuj.
would really help us.
I hope so. All right. I hope it was okay and it was insightful. I gave in whatever it came in my wisdom, honestly.
Yeah, yeah, by all means, like it was definitely insightful because we are interviewing a journalist from almost every aspect of this entire industry. Like hearing from someone who's actually an anchor at a reputed network channel, and then the network was really insightful, and we got that main perspective that which we wanted to, and it was amazing. Like I loved it, got to know a lot more, and yeah, I think people.
Great. Excellent. I'm glad you enjoyed. Thank you, Anuj.
Advice to a social media news consumer.
The credibility, first and foremost, the credibility.
A request to your fellow colleagues.
Should not get in the trap of trending or getting few hits. No, it's better to leave a story, to drop a story, than to do a wrong story.
And a line of wisdom to an upcoming journalist.
Stick to the basics, which we were taught in the School of Journalism. Stick to the basic.